Hello there my fellow gamers and creators. When it comes to premium, well-featured 16-inch performance notebooks, the market is filled right now with sleek laptops that promise to fulfill your every need for everyday computing, content creation and gaming. But to actually offer the perfect jack of all trades requires some very careful balancing and deliberate compromises, and not every manufacturer gets it quite right. Lenovo has been quite close with their original Yoga Pro 9i 16 from last year, and with the update for 2024, they may have even nailed it almost perfectly. Fast core components? Check. A beautiful mini LED panel? Check. And everything wrapped in a sturdy chassis with solid inputs and a ton of ports? Well, check. But as always, the devil is in the details, and while the Yoga improved in many aspects we did not like last year, it's also not all sunshine and rainbows. So let's get into it, shall we? Our sample of the Pro 9i comes with Intel's fastest Meteor Lake chip, the Core Ultra 9 185H, Nvidia's RTX 4070 running at up to 100 watts, 32 gigs of RAM and a 1TB SSD. In the display department, we once again get the amazing 3.2K 165Hz mini LED panel that is apparently available as a glossy touchscreen or with the matte coating from our review sample. If you want to step it down a notch, you can also treat yourself with the Core Ultra 7 and an RTX 4060. And in some markets there's also the option of doubling the RAM to 64 gigs if you lean more towards the content creation side of things. While the Yoga also comes in this amazing teal color, our sample is simply grey. And I cannot quite help it, but it does look a little, well, plain to be quite honest. I mean, sure, the super modern look of the XPS 16 or something a little more flashy like the ROG G16 for example might not be everyone's cup of tea, and again, if you get this one for work you might even appreciate the understated look. But me personally, well, some eye candy here and there would have been very nice to see. But overall there's definitely nothing wrong with the chassis, and the rounded edges all around feel and look good, and the hinges are well adjusted. There's only minimal flex throughout the base unit, but there are some creaking noises when handling the slim 16-incher. It's not a huge problem, but it does take away slightly from the overall very premium feel. The port situation should have you covered for almost everything you can think of, with the power connector, HDMI 2.1, a USB-C 3.2 Gen 2, Thunderbolt 4 and the audio combo port on the left, and a pair of USB-A 3.2 Gen 1s and a full-size SD card reader with average transfer rates on the right. Wireless transfer rates are very competitive, and the 5-megapixel webcam is a very welcome upgrade to what we are usually used to see even in this high-end notebook category. Below the somewhat flimsy button cover, Lenovo made space for a second NVMe drive, and that's unfortunately it. The RAM is soldered, so you must plan accordingly when ordering your own Yoga Pro 9i. I'm somewhat torn about this. While I would always prefer to be able to upgrade my system memory, I am also using my notebooks for work and therefore preferably need 64 gigs or more. So please guys, let me know how you feel about this. Have you ever upgraded your RAM or had to RMA your notebooks because of faulty system memory? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Lenovo offers great keyboards in its notebooks across the board, and the Yoga Pro 9i is no exception. With a solid 1.5mm of travel, a clear pressure point, tactile feedback and a somewhat clean layout, most users should enjoy the Yoga even for longer typing sessions. That said, the touchpads have been lacking on last year's models and even most of the higher-end Legion notebooks we reviewed recently, but it seems like Lenovo listens to the feedback and improved the Yoga tremendously in this regard. In a clear departure from the spongy, cheap-feeling clicks, the new trackpad offers a weighted, muted feel that is immensely satisfying. Alright folks, let's talk display. And as a quick refresher, Lenovo handles their mini LEDs slightly different compared to the competition. In SDR, you are basically dealing with a regular IPS panel, which means the backlight behaves like a single traditional zone. That said, our measurements are still vastly superior to what you would usually get with over 650 nits of brightness and very solid contrast results. Color gamut coverage is very good as well, and Lenovo also did their homework with their factory calibration. And if that isn't enough for you, you can further improve color reproduction with manual calibration, making this panel well suited for color critical photo editing or retouching work. Unfortunately, we do not get pre-calibrated profiles like sRGB or Rec 709 anymore, so if you are into video, you might be limited when it comes to color grading your footage, which is a bit of a bummer, and I would love to know the reasoning behind this decision. But if you are into content consumption rather than creation, just wait until you switch over to HDR, which not only increases the maximum brightness to more than 1200 nits, but also boosts contrast significantly, which looks simply stunning in supported games and when watching movies. I'm currently playing the PC version of Horizon Forbidden West and the just released Hellblade 2, and boy, this is just a perfect screen for those kinds of games. If you are more into the competitive scene, our response time measurements are a bit on the slower side, but on some mini LED panels the PWM frequency messes with our sensors, so please take those numbers with a grain of salt. I didn't notice any problems when playing faster games, but I'm also by no means an esports pro, so your mileage may vary. In the performance department, there's actually not that much to talk about. While we are dealing with a new CPU architecture, do not expect a big change here. And as always, we did some initial testing to see what you can expect from the different performance settings. In our combined CPU rating, the Yoga Pro 9i sits comfortably atop its sleeker competitors. Even though the difference isn't night and day, you do get a very capable notebook when it comes to pure CPU grunt. If you need more, for whatever reason, the Legion 7 we tested recently shows what is possible with Intel's faster HX silicon. System performance also offers no reason to complain, both when it comes to our PC mark results and judging by our subjective impression. Actually, there's not a lot the Yoga Pro cannot handle, and it's even quite well equipped for more workstation related tasks, with its fast core components and speedy SSD, which can keep up its excellent transfer rates without any form of throttling. GPU performance is excellent once again, even compared to something like the Alienware M16, which comes with a higher wattage RTX 4070 on paper. But as always, 100 watts is pretty much the sweet spot for Nvidia's mid-ranger, so you will have a good time for games and even content creation apps that benefit from GPU acceleration. Speaking of games, the Yoga might not be a Legion, but it actually could be. And while the Legion 7 does have the edge in our 1080p gaming rating of more CPU-bound games, thanks to the much faster HX CPU, the Yoga is very well placed once again. You can enjoy almost all modern games in maximum settings, at least in QHD, which is definitely the sweet spot for the 4070. Bumping it up to the native resolution is not worth it in my opinion, since the difference is not really noticeable and is not worth the frame rate drop if you ask me. If you do run into trouble with getting beyond 60 FPS, you have Nvidia's AI helpers at your disposal. Before we continue with our regular content, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Our German retail partner Notebooks and Nvidia want to ensure you get the right notebook for the job, and Team Green's Studio Validation is your perfect indicator that the laptop you are shopping for can adequately handle all of your content creation needs. Not only do you get a wide variety of different form factors to fit your lifestyle, but across the entirety of Nvidia's lineup, the efficient Ada mobile silicon is combined with the latest CPUs, high quality chassis and wide color gamut displays. AI is of course everywhere in 2023, but while others are still playing catch up, Nvidia's GPUs can speed up your workflows today. Be it in photo editing apps to quickly remove unwanted objects with generative fill, do complicated masks in DaVinci Resolve, or accelerate and denoise your viewports in popular 3D applications. In addition, you can query your whole library of documents or even transcribe whole playlists on YouTube with their very own chatbot, and all of this happens locally on your very own personal machine. With their newly announced Nvidia app, you also get all of your GPU settings, drivers and even GeForce Now in one streamlined application, which is not only a lot faster and easier to use, but also comes with a ton of additional features. If you want to find out more, make sure to follow the links in the description below, and if you are going to get shopping right away, check out Notebooks' selection of available studio notebooks. And now back to our regular content. When it comes to fan noise, the Yoga does not offer any surprises. In lighter loads, you mostly deal with a very quiet or even completely silent machine, and if you push it, well, it gets audible. Please enjoy our noise samples, and if you want to dive deeper into our measurements, please head on over to our written review. I also included something for the speakers, and while I do not have the G16 or a recent MacBook at my disposal right now, the Yoga is still up there amongst the best sounding notebooks on the market right now. As a little disclaimer, while I usually do not talk about our stress tests in our videos at great length, since it's not something that represents a common use case, we did observe something very odd when pushing both the CPU and the GPU to 100%. It seems like Lenovo did cut some corners with the 170 watts power supply, which is not able to keep up with the system at such high loads, and the Yoga has to tap into the battery in such scenarios. Again, it's probably not something you will encounter even when gaming or using heavy content creation applications. Still, it's something to keep in mind. Battery life is alright during our standard simulated Wi-Fi web surfing test with the display set to 150 nits. But your real life results will depend a lot on your set brightness levels, since the same test at maximum brightness cuts battery life in half. And when using HDR, well, make sure to have your charger at hand for a prolonged eye candy movie marathon. Alright folks, it's time to wrap it up for today. So is the Yoga Pro 9i the almost perfect do-it-all notebook? Actually, it kind of is. If you keep in mind that the perfect notebook does not exist and can therefore accept the compromises that have been made, the Lenovo offers a lot to like. It's fast without overwhelming the cooling solution that is possible in such a small chassis, with audible fans that are still bearable even when pushing the system. It's a great companion away from the wall if you keep an eye on your display brightness, and boy, this display. Adding in the solid if not super high-end chassis that manages to keep the weight down and comes with a solid arrangement of ports and great inputs, well, this is simply a really great notebook without being outrageously priced as well. But please folks, let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. That's it from my end today. Please help us out with your subscription if you are new here, and as always, leave your like if you had a good time. My name is Alex, you have been fantastic, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.